of announcements to make. So one, as Member Paulton was saying earlier, tomorrow the State House is going to have a meeting about education. Their schools working group at
1000 Kapalua Drive, which is just off Office Road, Harvest Chapel at Kumulani.
Yeah. So if you have issues related to school, they will be around tomorrow to hear your concerns, 9 o'clock. As well as the State Senate will be here tomorrow as well at the Civic Center to hear your concerns about insurance-related issues. Can you please call the next three testifiers?
The first testifier is Alfie Basurto, to be followed by Kekai Keahi and Tiffany Teruya.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alfie Basurto. I'm a Tongan boy raised in California. And, man, why did it get so emotional so fast, man? Lahaina is my home. Got 5 children. Our home was destroyed by the fire. We were located next to the wharf in Lahaina. And just like everybody here, man, we lost tremendously. You know, I think it's really important that in all of our stewardships and in all of our roles, we have to take some self-assessments. And I think right now, something that we're all noticing is that we're failing on all levels right now. Otherwise, we wouldn't have so many upset people right now. And I think self-worth, right? Because for myself, right, if I'm sucking as a dad, if I'm sucking as a husband, right, I'm like, well, what can I do to be better? You know, and I think that a lot of that falls on us. A lot of it falls on you as a council. It's very true. We can't keep sucking. That's just not an option anymore, right? There's a lot at stake. Just 4 points I want to talk about here. Where to live, right? We're refugees in our own home. That is horrific. Should never be a thing, but it is today. So there is some miscommunication at the ground level. It's really easy to clear that up. You just have someone tell them, hey, you've got a place to stay for even 2 months would be nice, because that level of anxiety that is automatically reduced, because right now we're being told we got 30 days. That spikes your anxiety. It stops the healing process. It's hard to be a good parent, a good spouse, a good friend when you think in 30 days you're about to get displaced. It's really difficult. Okay? So better communication, please. Evacuation efforts. Listen, we got to talk about evacuation efforts because there was a huge failure there. I'm not here to speak ill of firefighters or cops. It's not going to help. But what happened was there was very little to no evacuation. I'm a retired cop, California. I participated in wildfire evacuations as a police officer. Strategically, we go home to home, street to street, evacuating all the residents. Sir, you got to go. No, it's my home. Sorry, you got to leave. It's a fire coming. You're gone. Let's go. The training was not in place. I'm saying this because this cannot happen again to Lahaina, cannot happen to another island. The training exists. It's not like we can't close our eyes and ears and pretend the training doesn't exist. It exists. If you're a cop, you become a firefighter. Okay? So we need to talk about that. I'm almost done. I'm so sorry. Now, we have land that we're going to donate. My friend Adam spoke about it in Pu'unoa Estates. 2.5 acres. I've emailed each one of you right after the fires. I stated we have land that we're going to give to everyone to place a tiny home to live for free for the next 2 years. We don't profit from this. If I could say to a family, hey, I got you for 2 years. Anxiety gone, healing begins, and they're like, right on. I feel good. I got a place to live. I got a place for my kids to live. So if you want to find us, our website is rebuildmaui.org. You can reach out to us. We've got someone who's donating 2 tiny homes. We're going to put it up there. But the zoning prevents us from putting more tiny homes. It's flat land, undeveloped. It's perfect for a few families. It's not going to answer for all of our problems. Like I'm a family of 7. It's not going to solve our problem. We're not going to live there. But there's a lot of families here who'd be like, or Kapuna would be like, I can live there. Give me that. I'm down. I got 2 years of life to go and don't pay a thing. The infrastructure issue is not an issue. It's self-contained. It's got water. It's got solar. It's ready. It's good. It's perfect. Ocean views, so you're not in some obscure, gnarly place. It's beautiful. Okay, the last thing I want to say is I'm part of this other organization it's called HUA. It's Heard, Understood, and Acknowledged. It's a virtual system. It's like a virtual civic center. Why this is important? Because when you guys hear it, you guys may have heard it before, but I need to tell you now so when you hear it again, you latch onto this. It's like a virtual civic center where FEMA, Red Cross, SBA, all the service providers can come together virtually, because at one point, everyone's going to withdraw from here. There's going to be no more people at Civic Center providing services. What happens to all the needs that still exist? They still exist, and they need to be acknowledged, need to be serviced. But when you hear about this effort, it's another nonprofit. When you hear about it, some of you have, please inquire about it. So thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aloha mai no ka ko e ka ohana olele. O wau no o ke ala hoi pole mai le Kapanela. My ohana have lived in Lahaina for generations. Kapanela shimabukuro. Doretani ikomehe iwe kohana. Kohane. I am here today because of them and many, many more. Tourists should be the very least of our worries in our time of grief and in our efforts to plan and rebuild Lahaina Pono. Push back on Governor Green to delay the opening of West Maui to tourism that is scheduled on the exact date that marks 2 months since the fire Heva. There's already a petition with over 8,000 signatures circulating. I'm sure you are aware of that. Let us grieve, let us breathe. I also want to call ko'o and reiterate what has already been said about looking back to move forward. Ho'i I ka ike kupuna, ho'i ka aina, ho'i ka wai, kahe ka wai. There are more solutions. There will be more solutions that will reveal themselves to us that have sustained our kupuna and our aina for generations. I want to close with this olelo no'eo that just as Anakala Kai has mentioned earlier, and a bit more of my last mana'o. Hahai no kaua I kaulula'au. The rain follows the forest. I strongly believe that as a vital part of our efforts to rebuild Lahaina is to restore malu'ulu'olele, moku'ula, and moku'finia. Mahalo nui, Aeola Kalahui Hawaii.
Thank you. Aloha, good afternoon. My name is Lindsay Elam, and I want to thank you all for being here. I'm not putting down any one of you, but I would especially like to thank Councilmember Paulton for everything you've been doing and making sure our West Side families are taken care of. A lot of the things that were said before I came up, I agree very much with. You know, a lot of our families are hurting. You hear a lot of things about numbers, 18,000 houses, 1,800 residents, 2,200 structures. A lot of times when we talk about numbers, we forget that each one of those numbers has more numbers behind it, and those numbers are people. Yeah? These are my people. These are my grandchildren. My granddaughter, Isabella, had to escape the inferno of that fire when her mom was 9 months pregnant. My grandson, Xavier, was born 10 days after the fire. And guess what? He's been homeless since birth. He was born on August 19th. He has lived in 3 different places in that time. And guess what? He's got 2 more days at his current location, and he has to move again. That will be place number 4. He is a month old. The only thing my granddaughter asks is to go home. She doesn't understand that her home is not there. My grandchildren are homeless. These babies have no home. They don't. None of the kids do. You see how many children are still here? How many were here this morning? Why? Because they have nowhere to go. What is their options?
3 minutes.
Take a bus all the way to the other side and be that far away from their parents? I read something last night which did make my heart a little bit happy, that in approximately 95 days, we're going to have a temporary school up by Kapalua Airport, right? How about we get all those same families somewhere to live? How about you get my grandbabies back in a home so they won't be homeless anymore? Thank you.
Aloha Council. My name is Justice Kalau Kalani Faith Villarin. I was adopted. I was also a Kane originally. I'm a resident of Lahaina. I was born on Oahu. I was raised in the moko of Wai'ehu. And I also resided in California for 7 years up until 2011. Historically, the Water Commission was established by the U.S. government and the state of California through the California Water Commission Act of 1913. It was the legislators' first attempt to address water rights and tension between large landowners and smaller farmers by allowing the agency to give the authority. Since the 1800s, large farming companies sought to use water from California's last ancient lake called Lake Tulare. They were pumping water upstream out of the lake to irrigate the farmland of central California, eventually sending the state into what you see today, a severe drought, unstable ecosystem, fire-stricken dry land, and by 1935, farmers drained out over 95% of that body of water. What the U.S. government has and continuously fails at doing in its own motherland is the exact outcome of what has happened here in my home. On September 9th, Chair Don Chang of the Water Commission was elated to discuss solutions that have already been suggested in the past and have failed extensively through 1, the Reclamation of the Swampland Act of 1861, 2, the Green Act of 1868, 3, the Right Act of 1887, and even failed through 4, the Water Commission Act of 1913. These are your same, if not similar, governing solutions to our waters. The Commission today, they stick us in the same circle of failed repetitiveness, and still they prioritize the large farmers and developers here. Private purveyors control 75% of West Maui's water. That leaves all of us only 25% of West Maui water. That's criminal. Today, an agenda has been formed by large foreign agricultural real estate developers. They are buying out our land, quiet titling with local nonprofit names and different LLCs, and rebranding themselves as community leadership. Private land and well owner, farmer, and agricultural developer like Kaanapali Coffee Farms Estate and Maui Grown Coffee are also affiliated to Mahi Pono or Pomona Farming, a Central California-based farming company specialized in small water consumption farming to mask the thousands of gallons of water that they pump to the cities in California, their biggest cities. You showed us all the pending well permit applications since the fire. They're all there. You call it climate change, I call it greed, lust, and vanity. How is it that a single Kaanapali farm estate can be sold for $4 million and be called sustainable and ethically approved? That system is corrupt and proven failure time and again. The only resiliency plan you should prioritize is one that frees the stream flows and groundwater, bring back the waters of Mokuhina, reestablish our rich native aquaculture through our local ia, our fish ponds, prioritize traditional wetland kalo farmers. Think about also bringing in maybe similar style rice pond fields because not everybody eats taro, right?
3 minutes.
Replant our ulu breadfruit, put a 5-year cap on even applying for state residency. I just want to say that the spikes in water levels that you saw in 2020 and 2021, that is because Maui got a break. Tourism stopped and our island replenished on its own in 9 months. Traditional native practices is the only sustainable way for all from Mauka to Makai. Mahalo.
The next testifier is Wallen Christian, to be followed by Michiko Smith and Ke'eomoku Kapu.
Aloha. Before my 3 minutes start, I just want to give all my love to the people of Lahaina. I am from Honolulu, Hawaii. For those of you who do recognize me, I'm the one that was 12 minutes on the last hearing. My heart goes out to you guys. My grandma is from Maui. If she was alive today, she would die in a second to watch how the government has taken over from the people. With that said, okay, now you can start my 3 minutes. I'll try to keep it under that this time, I promise. You know, when you look at the mayor, Mayor Bisson, and I spoke about this, he's nowhere to be found. I don't know if he's working with the people because I'm from Honolulu. From August 29th until recently, he disappeared while the people perish, while the people suffer. When you take that oath of office as a mayor, you're telling the people of that county that you will do whatever it takes to protect them and to provide for them and to fight for them. He's done none of that. As the city council, I'm asking you guys to do an independent investigation on the mayor, on the police chief, on the fire chief, and find out why they allowed the people of Lahaina to perish in the fire. This is my problem. I waited to come to Lahaina because I wanted to respect the people and their grieving. They haven't even started grieving. You've heard the multiple testimonies. The Kiki who was here, I cried when they pulled. I don't even know that much Hawaiian. I cried. That's who all of you are supposed to be fighting for, including your mayor. That's who you're supposed to be fighting for our future. My kids and my mo'opuna had to move off the islands because it's too expensive. You guys want to talk about money? I've been hearing a lot of testimony. You guys say it's too expensive to put the lines underground. Well, stop charging our people and start charging all these hotels that are asking for the people to come back in. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to read this because I can't remember it. What they pay in taxes, hotels, rental cars, and airlines, none is owned by our people. Not one company is owned by our people. They pay state income tax, they pay state GET, they pay land lease, airport for rental cars. They pay landing fees for the airlines, they pay airport rent for the airlines. Hotel state surcharge on hotel rooms. That's just the top. I mean, I can go on and on. Where's that money? That was my question on the first hearing. Where's the money? Bezos gave $100 million, and I am going to repeat it because it needs to be repeated.
3 minutes.
Where is the money? The money should be going directly into these people's hands. I've heard testimony of how everybody can come together as a community and rebuild Lahaina. We need the government to step the hell out of the way and let the people start rebuilding. I mean, this is what I'm going to say. All of you get paid by the people. Start working for the people. Start doing for the people. I heard a testimony about someone saying how the Hawaiians don't what is the word, guys? Don't value education. Ever. Our Hawaiians are one of the most smartest people on this earth because we can live off of the land. We can live with each other. We don't need all of this technology to survive. You owe the people an apology on public.
4 minutes.
How dare. All I ask is that you guys hold these people accountable for the mass genocide that happened in Lahaina. I drove through the town today and I was with my friend and I cried because I could see the spirits of the keiki screaming, the kupuna screaming, the people screaming. Even the police officers, whoever they took orders from, hold them accountable. Hold them accountable and hold it publicly, not behind closed doors. Let the people see what they have to see. I didn't want to go too far because these people, the people of Lahaina have spoken. I don't need to fight for them, but I will stand up. My promise to all of you, in Honolulu, there's a bunch of us that are fighting for all of you. Non-stop. We go to the meetings. We go to the hearings. We stand up. We put our lives on the line, not for glory, not for social media, but for the people. And I will gladly take it all the way to the end for all of you. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Kalamaiau. I thought I had somebody before me. I'm Kiamoko Kapua, I live in Kaula Valley. I just wanted to refresh everybody's memories. This never happened the first time. 2007, 2012, 2018, and I think Yuki was there. When the Lahaina High School, when the Kuleanas came, and it was under Alan Arakawa. And we were reminded that council back then that this thing would happen again. 2021, over 2,000 acres were burned, all in the Kula Iwis. We knew that this day was coming. We fought hard to make sure that this council really knew what was coming, So, hate to say, but you guys are the watchdogs today and basically are also responsible of what had happened. 2023, August 8. May that serve as a reminder. Will it happen again? Oh yeah. It's going to happen again. So, in 2018, we lost all our homes in Kaula Valley. And an additional, I think, 7 homes, 2 in Launiopoko, probably about another 5 in Lahaina town. The people came to our aid in 2018. Naikani Maui serves as a hub in 2018. The many people throughout the state of Hawaii as well as Maui came to support Lahaina Strong in 2018. Now 2023, it's our turn to give back. So we immediately went into the distribution of food and resources for our people. Now, the whole town. We're right over here at the end of the cul-de-sac at Sheraton Hotel on the Naikani o Maui Community Distribution Hub. Also, Naikani or Maui serves as the cultural monitors in Lahaina town to protect the properties of our community. There's a lot of things that are happening that people really don't understand, especially a lot of the looting that's going on. So we took action, Naikani or Maui,
3 minutes.
to make sure that these things are protected. So when the families do go home, that there'll still be heirlooms and things, traditional cultural properties, cemeteries, burials are well protected. That's our responsibility. And we're only giving back pertaining to what was given back for us in the support in 2018 when a lot of our Kuleana lost our homes. We reminded Eleanor Call at that time that we need to start sitting at the table and start figuring out how we, a community, needs to be a bottom-to-top kind of management system, not a top-to-bottom. It should have never been that way. That now is the time I think the government needs to start listening to the people. From 2007, this is a fifth fire.
4 minutes.
Why we never learned anything back then? Why we never learned anything in 2018? How come nobody came to us when we argued? This Waini in 2022 got arrested for an illegal pipeline that was being put in by Mr. Martin, the guy that is instigating all this bullshit. You guys need to batten up and look how green his neighborhood is versus all the other properties above Lahaina on how much our place is dried up and going through some serious climate changes. At the same time, that neighborhood is flourishing with swimming pools, nice gated communities. When are we going to wake up? When are we really going to wake up to make sure that you guys' responsibility are for the residents of this place? We're going to wait. We're going to figure it out. At the same time, we're not going to play nice anymore. We played nice too long. We followed the rules. We followed the law. And nothing came of it. Blatant, irresponsible excuses that we got to bear with all the time when all of a sudden the vision is about affordable homes. Now what? What are we going to create for our people now? The ones that are waiting. We're dealing with the federal government. That's the whole reason why we needed to get in there, to make sure that the federal government needs to be put up against the wall when it comes to the management of our own resources. So I'll end at that.
Thank you, Mr. Kapu.
I just asked from the beginning, we want to be at the table, not at an advisory level. I sat in too many advisories already. We want action.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Kapu.
Aloha mai. My name is Weilani Kapu. I'm here to speak out on behalf of a lot of people that have spoke to me when I opened up the hub. I had people cry, talk about what their visions were. You know, it's hard. It's hard because we talked about 2018, brush abatement. That never happened. And look at where we're at now. Brush abatement is big. You want to buy property, you maintain it. All these large landowners that buy properties and don't do anything because they don't get their housing passed or whatever's, they still have to maintain it. They don't. And this is what we get out of it. Of course, we want to sit at the table, but I think we should have our own forum. And we should put our own vision together without county, state, and federal government. And then present it to you folks. This is what we want. This is how we want it. And this is what we're going to do. We're just going to move forward and we're going to do it. But speaking to the state offices, they're saying that we can't build on shoreline. I have news for you. A lot of our Kuleana owners are along that shoreline, and they deserve what's rightfully theirs. So what are you guys going to do for them? How are you guys going to relocate them? You guys got to think about that, because that's one avenue that has not been presented. But they want to know what's going to happen to them. And I hope we can nip this in the bud about everybody having to move every time. Because like they stated, it's not stable. And, we sleep down here. Because this is where our people are. They're sleeping out. They're not even at home. We sleep at the hub. We're there to serve them when they need it. So, I don't know how anybody can walk into a place and feel comfortable and be able to sleep at night when so much people are houseless. So much people are going through trauma. I watched a video last night and they were sharing their eha. They're sharing what they're going through. And I cannot sleep at night knowing that our kids are out there wondering when they're going to go home.
3 minutes.
When are they going to have a house for themselves to go back to? And how can the parents explain it to them? We can't. They're not going to bring their kids back to a place that they can't see their toys, they can't function. That's going to be so devastating for them to even do that. So I think we as a community need to sit down and we need to start planning out how we envision our future moving forward without government involvement, because it takes too long and we got to do it, and we got to do it now. Mahalo.
Aloha, my name is Courtney Lazo. I'm born and raised Lahaina. First, before I go into my testimony, I just want to share, we've been running our own wellness checks for our community. These QR codes that you see on our shirts. So I'm going to read some of the top priorities that our community has been asking for and their concerns. Number 1 being Lahaina lands in Lahaina hands. 2, community-led recovery. 3, restoring Maulu'ulu'olele, historical sites and wetlands. 4, affordable housing. And 5, infrastructure upgrades. Widen the roads, move water, sewage inland, etc. 57% of the people who filled out this form have keiki in their households. 40% have kupuna. And over 50% of our Lahaina community wants to be a part of the recovery, and they want to volunteer. We don't stand here in front of you guys asking for handouts. We just need our voices to be heard. Looking forward towards the future, we envision a West Maui that celebrates its rich history and cultural diversity. Let's commit to replanting ulu, banana, coconut trees, and kalo, restoring the lushness of our surroundings. The revival of Maulu'ulu'olele is an essential step towards preserving our historical legacy. We must develop a vibrant historic district that pays homage to Lahaina as more than just a plantation village and a whaling hub. This district should celebrate the various cultures that shaped our community with their churches, such as Wohing, Joro, Waiola, Hangwanji, and Riulanakila, serving as proud symbols of our shared heritage. A comprehensive master plan should be devised to ensure that the preservation and reconstruction of these sacred sites. Moving on, to expedite the process of rebuilding, we propose the establishment of an emergency permitting process office in Lahaina. This dedicated office will streamline the necessary procedures, ensuring efficient and swift reconstruction efforts. Now, in light of the current landscape, we propose a moratorium on short-term rentals. By halting the rebuilding of short-term properties, we can redirect our focus towards providing housing for our local residents, ensuring that their needs, our needs, are prioritized during these trying times, or even better, doing away with short-term vacation rentals in our residential neighborhoods. We don't need them. We need homes for our local community. We need mortgage and interest deferral programs for at least a period of 3 years. This compassionate measure will provide much needed relief to our residents, allowing them to rebuild their lives without the added
30
burden
minutes.
of immediate financial obligations. Oh, and we need a hospital in West Maui. We've needed one. So yeah, please add that to the list. And lastly, I understand this is a county council meeting, and we mahalo you guys for being here. It's probably not easy to stand in front of the Lahaina community or sit there and listen to us, but mahalo. But I don't know if Josh Green is still on island. I know he was here yesterday at Kapalua. Most of us didn't even know he was having a meeting or a press conference until it popped up on our phones. But in case you are here and listening, somewhere in the back or watching online, we invite you to Lahaina for a listening session like this, preferably before your reopening on October 8th. You have yet to sit with our community, to hear our voices and concerns, and I think it's time you do. Your recent decisions haven't included our community, and right now from where we stand, it looks like you put profit over people. Nothing about us without us. We look forward to a listening session with you, Governor. Mahalo.
Wait, come back.
Mahalo, Chair. Yeah. Mahalo, Ms. Lazo, for your testimony. My question, I think it's so smart to put the QR code on the sleeve of the shirts and that everyone's participating in it. Broadly speaking, like everyone can get behind affordable housing, a hospital, but the devil is always in the details. And so we're going to need the community to be able to engage with us when the details start coming out so that the recovery is done together, CACO effort. Would that initiative that you folks have be able to have that level of feedback with the detail as the details are proposed from the community, and then everyone have an opportunity to provide their feedback on that?
Yeah, we can provide what we have, and we'll figure out the rest. I mean, Lahaina's waiting to be heard, so we'll get it. Yeah.
Amazing. Mahalo.
Yeah, thank you.
Aloha, my name is James Lumpkin. I've been in West Maui for 17 years. All my material possessions were burned at 360 Front Street, which is now being called Zone 14A. This disaster is a failure on the civic authority's political system. It's not a natural disaster. So many people pointed out it's a failure to act on warnings, and that created knowledge of raised risks that weren't acted on to make change. Many good points were made here today. I'd like to just reiterate that believe building beyond resources is a poor decision. What resources need to be considered are roads, power, foods, and obviously what's been repeated over and over is water. The question was asked, it's not that water is not available, it's how the water is being distributed. And that water needs to be distributed to the people for things like moku'ula, mokuhunia, malu'ulu alele, and I also think those things fit into the idea of rejuvenative tourism, to repeat pa'ele. Thank you, council members, for being here, and I'll put anything else in an email.
The next testifier is Stephen West, to be followed by Cheryl Alcantara and Lopezi Tu'ua.
Hello, council members. And my name is Stephen West. I'm a business agent for International Longshore Warehouse Union. And on behalf of all of us, our sincere condolences go out to everyone that's lost anything in this fire. We're here for you now, and we'll be here for you in the future. As Brother Ron pointed out, we've brought some various supplies to the hubs. We're here for you. So I wanted to bring out just a couple points. I testified in front of the council last meeting, and I just want to touch base on a section Section 105.2.1 of Title 16.26B, and it provides the county to expedite the permitting process. This is in the code. And basically 105.2.1, reconstruction of dwellings and accessory structures. There's a number of points, and if I read all of my testimony, I would be going over. So there's a number of sections. One that's most important, it allows the planning director to forego any charges to the applicant, so they would not have to pay permitting fees. I would strongly urge the county to make that so people of this community could do it without even asking, because it's in the code. It says they must ask. So anybody that's listening, please spread that out. You're going to have to ask, but hopefully the council can and work with the mayor's office and planning director to make that automatic. Also, H, it deals with illegal construction. A number of the plantation homes, there was no planning, there were no plans, they were constructed. There's no record of them. I would hope that when these applicants go to the county, they would basically understand by just, they've been paying taxes all this time. The county would not deem it illegal. They would basically grant the permit, and then as well, they're going to have to follow the law. That is understood as far as the code and the building is all that. But I would just hope that the county would please recognize those structures to be rebuilt. And then the most important thing for me is that, this multi-generational wealth in the plantation eras, it has to continue. And we've heard today various people saying that they've already had the banks on their backs. We've got to find a way. We have to find a way as a community to protect all those people. It would break my heart to see anyone lose their home. And lastly,
3 minutes.
The issue that I feel strongly about, and I felt strongly about this, is that transit vacation rentals, TVRs, Airbnbs do not belong in our neighborhood. Please do at the very minimum, a 5-year moratorium. Our children have been our greatest asset and our greatest export of this county. Over 2,000 children leave this island and don't come back every year. It's not right. So, and then the bypass. We got to look at the bypass. Maybe ask the president, the governor, to ask them to waive all the administrative, do an administrative order to allow that process to move forward. And I'll shut up. Thank you very much for your time. Aloha.
Thank you, Steve. Oh, wait, Steve.
Aloha, Mr. West. Mahalo for your testimony. Mahalo for taking such a strong position as a ILWU lobbyist or representative.
I'm a representative.
Representative.
Yeah.
When we do introduce legislation, will you please bring your force to come and support the legislation when we introduce those things?
We're in the midst of that right now. And, it's just, we have a lot of members that are hurting right now. We're actually we're getting back to our roots. We're working from the ground up, the bottom-up organization versus a top-down organization. So we're rebuilding. And yes, we'll definitely show up.
Mahalo, Mr. West. Mahalo, Chair.
So nervous. Hello, everybody. Just like to say, everybody lost a lot. We lost everything. So the best thing for them to do now is regroup as a family, as a people, as a nation, come together and take back Hawaii, reinstate the government, and the kingdom, the Polynesian kingdom. We gotta get them back. We gotta bring them back for the future of our Kikis. We don't need them living in the mainland, but we need them living home where they belong. half our family are up there. We want to bring them all home. And thank you for that. Mahalo.
Before you leave, can you please state your name?
Raso pomaikai kuhailoa kuomo kekona.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're going to take a 10-minute recess. We'll be back 3:10. Okay, we're ready to begin again. It is 3:26. And will the Great Committee please reconvene? Staff, if you could please call our first testifier.
Thank you, Chair. The first testifier is Lopeti Tu'ua, to be followed by Jose Molina and Virendra Nath.
Talofa lava, olo ingwa, o Lopeti Tu'ua. Thank you, folks, for having myself here along with the rest of Lahaina as a voice. I'm here today to speak to you on behalf of the rebuild and along with making Lahaina resilient to something like this happening again. As far as the rebuild of Lahaina, the first thing that comes to mind for myself is two things. We have those who come from Lahaina and those who live in Lahaina. For me and my family, no matter where I live, I come from Lahaina. We are Lahaina. With that being said, no matter where I go or where I reside, I wear Lahaina on my forehead and on my chest. I don't wear it on my back. Everybody knows I'm from Lahaina. Why? Because I come from Lahaina. So as far as the rebuild, all of you folks, what I ask from you is to listen to the people who come from Lahaina. No disrespect. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you live in Lahaina. The people who come from Lahaina will have only the best interest of Lahaina. So listen to the people who come from Lahaina, not live in Lahaina. That is so far irrelevant from the future of Lahaina. You have to listen to the people who come from Lahaina. As far as Lahaina being resilient, as far as something happening like this in the future, back to the same thing. You have to listen to the people who come from Lahaina. This is my son. His name is Loyal, Lauli Iloa, Namokuola, Tu'ua. Talofa, say Talofa. He doesn't talk yet. But back to what I said about coming from Lahaina. Unfortunately, I have two other children, Kailana, Vaya, Tu'ua, Vasai, Toatasi, Toatangaloa, Lopeti, Tu'ua. They know Lahaina. My daughter comes from Lahaina, my son was born in LA, but when I called my son and I told him what happened to Lahaina, he said Hosadi was about Lahaina burning down because he loved this place. For him, unfortunately, he'll never know the Lahaina that I know and that I knew growing up. So all I ask is that we listen to the people who come from Lahaina so that when we do the rebuild, he'll know at least something about the Lahaina that I knew and that I know. Moving forward, after that, what I wanted to say was that I'm a Samoan. My mom was born in America. My dad was born in Samoa. My mom graduated Lahaina Luna in 1971. I graduated 2003. So I'm from Lahaina. And as far as what I was going to say is being a Samoan born and raised in Lahaina, we're all Polynesians. We're all in the same va'a. However, so we're all in the same va'a, but we have to do we have to remember is that if we're all in the same va'a as Polynesians, we have to paddle in the same direction. This flag right here is the same flag that me as a Samoan brought to Mauna Kea the very next day after they were at the cattle guard. Why? Because although we're in the same va'a, I'm still paddling in the same direction. And you guys have to all remember that. We're all in the same va'a, but which direction are you guys paddling in? Remember which direction you're paddling, because you claim you're in the same va'a, but remember you're paddling in the same direction, because if not, it's not going to work. And do it for him, because this is the future right there. He's looking right at you. Eo mai, eo.
What I was going to say is, I think I should just say that there's certain things that are very pressing that I think the council can help us with. Of course, we all know like the idea that we're opening up for tourism on the 8th. Of course, we all know tourists are already here. I think you can put pressure on the mayor, and maybe the mayor can get other mayors from the different counties to put pressure on the governor to stop this madness before it even happens. I think that's pressing. Because what is even more pressing than that is because we know there get plenty of people still not sure where they're going, that they're getting kicked out at this very moment. So it's uncertain for them where they're going to be living. I mean, I don't know what FEMA or the Red Cross says about that, but we know we're hearing differently. So it's like, you know, it's kind of plantation mentality all over again, you know, like, okay, your mama, your papa just got burnt at the stake, and are you done crying? Get back to work now. Get back to work. I think that's what is happening. Yeah? Plantation mentality. Plantation mentality. We gotta end all the plantation mentality. So, take care of our people. I think we need a stabilization plan for those of us for those of our families who affected by this fire, no more place to live. You gotta take care of them first before we start to take care of any tourists. Okay? I think that's kind of pressing right now. Because I don't know how many times we're going to be talking about the Build Back. This is not the first time we're going to be talking about that. Get some stuff that can come later on down the line, of course. So let's just deal with something that you can probably handle right now. Something that you should be doing right now is putting pressure on our mayor and guarantee, yeah, I talked to the Kauai mayor too, guarantee he'd be in on pressuring the governor for pushing back this open up date. So do that for us right now.
3
Take
minutes.
care of that right now. Mahalo.
Wait, Suzette, you got to come back. Member Paulton has a question for you.
And Chair, staff asked if you could just state your name again.
If
for
you
the
could state your
record.
name for the record.
Kapali, Keahi.
Wait, no, she doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
So I just wanted to clarify, we heard meetings where the mayor or the governor or Red Cross or FEMA says that nobody going to be displaced because the tourists coming back. So instead what we're seeing is the 40 hotels being used as shelters, just shuffling all the residents around, moving from the Fairmont, Kealani, Ondas. You get 24 hours. Now you got to go to Hyatt or Napili Shores. They don't care that your kids is in school in Haiku or wherever. So even though they're not being displaced to the streets, you're saying that is still unacceptable because we're not just cattle that can be moved.
Absolutely. Thank you for not putting words in my mouth, because that's exactly what we're thinking. That's exactly what we're thinking. And that's exactly what we're saying. Like my cousin Albert said, who you are is where you come from, man. And for all intents and purposes, we don't like leave Lahaina. We want to stay here. There's no reason why these hotels cannot open up. The amount of units that there are in this industry can swallow up all of Lahaina quite easily. Of course, it'll probably be just a matter of dividing everybody up, perhaps. But get plenty of room for us. I know that already. So that being said, I mean, all of us in Lahaina, we're in it for the long haul. We know that. But this industry, come on, only 2 months and you just like give up already? They gotta be in it for the long haul too. Why? We built this industry. We built this industry. This industry is dependent on us. They like us get back to work because they know, even the governor knows, and this is why this is very much plantation mentality, that once we get back into the grind, it's hard to stop. So it becomes not only a distraction, but a deterrent. It is a deterrent. It deters us. Now, you think we're going to go work all day? We like go to a meeting at night. You think that's what we like to do? You think that's fun? You think that's part of the quality of life for the people who live here? Of course not. We don't like going to a meeting at night after you just power work all day, slaving in the tourism industry or whatever industry. So this is all a deterrent, deterring us from being part of the solution, deterring us from being at the table. So that's why we got to push this back right now and get it happening before the 8th comes. Mahalo.
Thank you for the clarification.
Aloha.
Can you please state your name for the record?
I am Miss Lizzie.
Okay.
I worked for Princess for 4 years in Kobe Steakhouse. People are literally dying of heartbreak. To one of the great Hawaiians, we love you, Pili Kekai. Please be with us now. To the families of Lahaina and the students I taught, I know and love, to your lineage, your ohana, your genealogy, your island culture, to your home, unto Hawaii, stand proud. I am sorry you have had to witness bombs, smoke, desolation, poverty, death, and horror. I'm sorry there was no warning. I'm sorry you were trapped in gridlock with no communication. I'm sorry when you were burnt, tired, and hungry and shell-shocked. The government took your First Amendment away and would not let you look back. Lahaina, we the people must work united against the government who has failed you and work toward the self-sustaining goal of the Hawaiian Islands by the Kanaka Maoli. Fight against the government who barricaded you in, who took your voice and silenced you. The government no listen to you. The mayor no listen to you. The DOE no listen to you. I spoke out at the DOE meeting August 20th at the MAC. My testimony has disappeared. All of our testimonies have disappeared. Bus our keiki across the island. Put our schools into one school, into one area with no evacuation route. It pisses me off. Whew. What will happen next? What will you do? When will you do it? I call upon the Kanaka Maoli to lead us out of this darkness. There are 5 things we need now. Number 1, give us our water back. Water is life. Number 2, rebuild every Hawaiian home. Number 3, give kids a safe school, a safe school. Number 4, self-sustain the Lahaina community without tourism. Number 5, honor the lives of every human lost. Everyone has face value. Then, after this, we can start to breathe with the sacred aloha of our island, not the tourist industry, propaganda, and sentiment that sells aloha for a price. God, hear our prayers. Please send us angels.
Members of Maui County Council and my dear Maui residents, my name is June Lee Brown and I'm a resident of Lahaina in the Kahana area. And I'm proud to say that all 4 of our children are Lahaina Luna graduates and then some. Our business shut down last month and our employees lost their homes. So this issue of recovery and resiliency is very important to me. Thank you for this chance to share my ideas about how to rebuild, how to move forward. First, I believe there have been so many ideas here. I've been here all day. You guys have a lot of work to do. Anyway, I just wanted to add that. But moving forward, first, I believe that we should plan the restoration of Lahaina around a new town center that consists of a memorial, a museum, a cultural center, a park, and a playground. Alongside our memorial site, we should construct a museum that preserves the rich history and culture of our town. If done properly, this could become a major destination on the island for visitors and locals alike. I feel that a public gathering space, a park, and a playground designed around culturally relevant themes would also be a great benefit to the community. We must always remember that we do this work in service for future generations. Next, I propose that we reclaim the ocean front as green space. If we push back redevelopment by 500 feet from Baker Street to Shaw, we could create an area roughly equivalent in the size of Ala Moana Beach Park. That The continued prosperity of Ala Moana Shopping Center shows that increased distance from the ocean can support successful commercial activity. This move will also mitigate the effects of the expected incoming sea level rise. Whether it becomes a county, state, or national park, I believe it is of critical importance to preserve this area as green space. This is perhaps the only chance we will get to convert this land into a public area that everyone will be able to enjoy. And further, I suggest that we rebuild Lahaina as a pedestrian-first town. There are many benefits to this approach: a stronger sense of community, improved physical and mental health outcomes, increased safety for pedestrians and cyclists, higher retail revenues from increased foot traffic, and of course, reduced motor vehicle emissions. Rebuilding Lahaina first for pedestrians and second for low-speed electric vehicles. That would also meet several health and sustainability goals set by Maui County and the state of Hawaii. Several major tourist destinations already have successful car-free mandates, and I include these examples in my written testimony, which was 9 minutes long, but anyway. So now is this is my recap. Now is the time to take bold steps to a truly sustainable and resilient future. My written testimony includes detailed evidence to support these suggestions, other towns that are car-free. If anyone is interested in the full report, you can email me at kokuafirst@gmail.com. I understand we have a long road ahead that begins today, and I want to continue engaging with everyone about the collective vision to rebuild Lahaina. Mahalo for listening.
The next testifier is Dan Brown, to be followed by John Sarter and Foster Ampong.
Aloha. My name is Dan Brown. My wife already covered it. My 4 children grew up in this town. I've lived the last 41 years of my life in Lahaina, most of it in Lahaina town. 3 of the first 4 places I lived were lost in this fire. My business was impacted. I'm blessed I didn't lose everything, but my employees did. And I have no employees now because they've all been dislocated to the other side of the island. Seems minor to me compared to the great losses. My sympathy to all who lost loved ones and possessions and all of us for the trauma we've suffered, whether you live in Lahaina or not. It's affected all of us, I believe. It seems premature to talk about what I'm talking about, but it is on the resiliency and the planning. I testified at the last meeting, and I went out and I did do what I said. I talked to a contractor, I talked to some other people in the business, and really thought about what do we need from the council on the planning side. And you mentioned as a council that when you questioned me that you are working on having some boilerplate, some pre-approved plans that could move things forward for people. And I realized that's a wonderful idea, but then I started thinking in the houses I've lived in and the places I've been that we don't match the mainland model of a house, right? We have a house, we got tutu here, we got daughter and granddaughter over here, and we've got these multi-family, multi-generational homes. You're not going to get that plan from somewhere on the mainland, right? And I think that we really need to have community input when we go to rebuild Lahaina, because everybody knows what those houses were like. If you've lived in them or you've visited them, they weren't just a 3-bedroom house with 1 bathroom or whatever. It doesn't look like that. And to try to force people back into that colonial model or whatever you want to call it, that's not us. And we need to really look at, hey, can we have 4 things connected together by a breezeway and have that approved, right? So that people can live good lives in their houses instead of being stuffed where they were. And, variances for the density, because we all know some of those houses had way more people than what it looks like on the county tax map key. And we're going to have, you have maybe 1,800 homes, right? Were lost. That's not 1,800 families. That's probably 3 times that number. And when we make our planning, we really got to look at that as we do it. The other one that was suggested to me from someone with some expertise in gathering information. And I'm always concerned, like this morning, I really felt that the community was here. And like someone said, when people get back to work, I won't be able to be here. Other people won't be able to be here. But we also have communities that there are fewer of them that, we know who's missing. I only saw a few of the Japanese community here. I haven't seen a representative Filipino population. And to have caucuses that are separate from this for people to give their ideas and to have someone, the county maybe provide a facilitator who could take notes and do it, but to provide an opportunity in a hotel ballroom or even a beach park.
3 minutes.
How we're gonna hear the voices we're not hearing, because we're hearing the motivated people who don't have to work today are here but a lot of people are missing out on giving their input, and we need everybody to help rebuild this. Thank you.
Aloha. Hi. My name is Keisha Joy, Maui resident for about 20 years, and water protector, Kia'i. Good to see so many of you here that I have worked with before. I would like to find out about this meeting tomorrow. It was mentioned earlier. It's hard to keep track of. I want to be able to speak as much as possible and to share with the community as much as possible on the upcoming. So I would love to know more about that. I would love to know if there's a way to find out what your ideas are and how we could engage in speaking, together in that and hearing what your thoughts are. And how we could be helpful to you guys as well. This is a huge job that you're all tasked with, actually, and the world is watching. Everybody's watching, and we want to help you as much as you want to help us. And so how can we do that? I also wanted to speak about in 2011, we had like a big tsunami issue. I was living here and I happened to be in Kihei. We had plenty of warning. We had, 6 hours for that wave that was going to hit at 3 a.m. And I just remember the sirens that went off over and over again warning us. And I remember an intercom where voices could come over that siren and say, please evacuate, you have a tsunami coming. Is there a capability for someone to come on the sirens to speak? And why didn't that happen? To come on and say, okay, we have a fire. It's not a tsunami, it's a fire. So get out. I just wanted to bring that up because I just remember that from the last tsunami issue. I definitely want to restore the water. I stand for the water. Mokuhina and Moku'ula is, I think, one of the more inspiring things that we could restore really on our planet, one of the most sacred places. And so if we could focus on that, you're going to uplift your community big time if that can be happening very fast. And even showing that that's an intention that could happen. I don't even know how 75% of our water got to be privately owned. I just don't understand. That's... Can't own water. Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's for everybody. It's for everybody. I don't know how this happened, but this disaster is happened to wake us up. We're all awake. We are raw. We are feeling everything. We are feeling our tears. We are feeling each other, and we get to do this as a community together. Also, I was in the Restore Habitat for Humanity store recently. And I asked,
3 minutes,
if they were going to help rebuild, and they said, "Oh my gosh, when the time is ready, they have hundreds of people ready to volunteer," and that just made me just fall in tears. So I hope the permits go there's no permitting fee, and that things can go swiftly. And no, there's a huge, beautiful group, massive amount of people that are ready. I love the volunteer firefighters idea. And lastly, there needs to be a healing and wellness center here in Lahaina for the people to recover, their emotional, their mental, their physical. I do warm water aquatic therapy, and I want to offer anyone who is having some PTSD to come in the warm water. And I'm giving free sessions. Unfortunately, the only warm water pool I have is in Haiku. But I would love to offer that to those who really need it. So listen to the Indigenous wisdom. They're holding the keys in their bones to the
4
future.
minutes.
Thank you, and aloha.
Thank you very much. Can we call the 2 next testifiers, or however many we have it left? Well.
Next
in this
testifier is Hailey Shim, to be followed by Kalena Shim, then Kamuela Kava'akua.
Hello, my kako. First, my thoughts and prayers goes out to each and everyone, his family who's lost and seeking, who's mourning through all this. And so I'm a graduate of Lahaina Luna High School / Jackson High. I'm a great grandson of Alice Kulane Banham, who was the maitre d' of Lahaina Luna back in early 1900s to mid 1900s. She was also the composer of the song Leon the Lahaina Mountains. From Kakuloa, Honokohau, Punalau, Honolua, Napili, and now we reside in Lahaina. My indigenous tribe of people had lived in simplicity for thousands of years, and we I hope that our no and planning department of the people who makes these decisions, plans for building, starts to trust in the process of Akua and the people. I pray and ask that God grant us more time to change. Planning, communication, organization, execution, and belief is what I look at today. When I saw Wai'ola Church, as I was watching it burn down, former Waine'e Church, changed to Wai'ola Church. That is where all my ancestors are laid to rest today. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Aloha mai kako wau no Kalena Shim. Noho mai au ma punalau, kupa o Lahaina. First thing, forgive me if I'm a little jittery. My dad decided we're going to talk halfway through everybody and testify, so kind of winging it right now. But I think my most immediate need for this meeting is to postpone the opening, of October 8th. The tour is not our priority. Yeah. Stability of our people should be priority. Yeah. Keeping everybody in Lahaina and safe. Long term. One other big thing is water. We all know, vice is life. Return the water to the right place. Moving forward with rebuilding, there's two different type of greens in this situation, I believe. Actually, there's three. Josh Green, get Money Green, and then get Aina Green. Yeah. My question to you guys is, which one you believe in? Which one you gonna stand up for? Which one you gonna fight for? Yeah. Which one you guys like Yomo Opuna grew up to love, embrace, and cherish? Because my ancestors before me, I believe they lived through me. My father, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, my great-grandmother who fought for water rights in Honokohau. Yeah. We in this all together, but this is just the start. Yeah, and we're not gonna go nowhere. Mahalo.
My name is Lori Leijigama. I lost my home at 534 Lahaina Luna Road with my uncle who I caregave for over 20 years in it to the fire. I am born and raised here. It's amazing that there is this much people who have made it. There was no warning. There was no cell phone service, hence the importance of sounding the alarms which were silent that day. It was survival made for all of us, or mode for all of us. Everyone has a story. Most of the stories are traumatic and their story of trying to escape. Many didn't make it because there was no access or alternative routes. They got stuck on Front Street or behind Mill Camp. There would have been more fatalities if the already Old Cane Road gates were not broken and made accessible. I want to know the count on how many remains were found, not the count on the people missing. If you know Lahaina, we all know everything going on in Lahaina, and that 100 count is not the whole truth, only part of the truth. The fire 5 years ago should have wiped out Lahaina. But luckily the wind stopped when the fire came up to Lahaina Luna Road. 4 houses by my house burned. My house was spared. Why? Because there was a county truck parked right in our driveway watering my house. We need more trucks that hold water and can shoot water. Forget the hydrants. They were empty once again, they say because there was no water pressure. Nothing was learned from the fire 5 years ago. We had to lose homes, family, and a town to be seen. This is my 3rd fire where I live. 5 years ago, and the fire on the mountain, and then this last one. My daughter is afraid to live at our home again. I don't blame her. How do we tell our kids it's safe to rebuild and be there when we as parents know if nothing is changed, it won't be safe? She wants to make sure we stay and she can go to Lahaina Luna. She got that Luna spirit already. We have to do better and protect the future of our Lahaina. Thank you.
Aloha, my name is Naki Ave Kanekoa. Forgive me for my glasses, it's kind of like my comfort space, okay? I am not from Lahaina. I am born and raised on the continent. I'm what we call a diaspora Hawaiian, okay? That being said, I have been privileged to be close to this community for over 11 years working at the Feast at Lele. And that being said, I've had a lot of different opportunities to talk about the tourism industry and the amount of extraction that it causes. That is one point, okay? Waste is the major issue. For Indigenous people, this kind of catastrophe hits home so much harder, okay? Being Kanaka Maoli, our ways would have prevented all of these things. So the first thing that we said, moku'ula, mokuhinia, kiawahine. That's why these things were kept sacred, yeah? Above the wants and needs of men, women. Only for the needs of the keiki, right? So the waste is what you folks are so exposed to on every level because you are between us and the higher ups. You are our konhiki, right? You guys are the ones who look out for us. You guys witness the waste, the water, the waste money, the wasted land. Yeah. That is what we need you. We, I say, Lahaina especially, need you to keep track and be really accountable, yeah, for that waste. Because when we turn that around, then we have more water, we have more land, we have more money. And it's not just for Councilmember Halton, who's doing the work here in Lahaina. It's you folks when you go back to your districts, back to your people, and remind them what we're doing. We're pivoting, right? Just like we did in COVID. We could do it again. There's this thing I learned called Lahaina Strong. Yeah, and I got to witness that very closely. 2018, I was there. I got stuck here. Yeah, and my folks live here in Hawaiian homes. I saw some of the neighbors here. This community has raised up like no one else, and the world is watching. You folks have the opportunity to change the game at the level of Konohiki. And then you push on the ali'i, those higher ups. And I'm talking Indigenous because this is the plan, you guys. That is what Lahaina Strong has always been. Starting on Indigenous, but we welcome all the other communities. Why? Because that's what makes us strong. So, trying to come back to point, I appreciate you guys for being here. I really do. I know that it's not easy to take criticism, but I want to remind you guys, these people in Lahaina are world famous, okay? The world comes to Lahaina. They come to see us. They come to see them. So the world is watching. They all have a little place in their heart for Lahaina and Maui and us as Kanaka. You see these leaders here rising up. Some of them have always been leaders like Kaumoku. Some of them haven't. Some of these younger guys are rising up. Some of the younger women are rising up. You know, and that is who you need to support. Support these leaders who are coming up push on your higher ups. And I know it's just being redundant, but I want to pinpoint the waste. We're talking about waste of water, waste of money, waste of aina. And it all comes back to indigenous systems. We don't waste nothing.
4 minutes.
Mahalo again, aloha.
My name is not Manu Akana. My name is not Foster Ampong. But I do have a short time limit, and if nobody objects in the room, I'd like to have an opportunity to speak so I can go.
That's fine. If you could just say your name for
I
the
am
record.
signed up, so you can check me off as done when I'm done.
Okay.
My name is Kaipoke Kwana. You guys heard a lot of what is the dire need today and now, and I support all of that and can get behind it, like the opening of the 8th and the need for housing and stability and all of that stuff. Super high priority immediately right now. Concepts, understanding why the council is here and the capacity of the council. I will do my best to speak to those limits. And we hear everyone speak of the water and moku'ula, mokuhinia. Coming from a stance advocating for that system for over 20 years now, it is very enlightening to see our community be familiar with just its name. A deep understanding and concept of its significance to the ecology and environment of our wahi, what made it unique to our location, why our location was named Kingdom Capital by our ali'i, speaks for itself. Knowing that water was a bigger issue for Mokuhinia, I am a part of Na'ekaneo Maui Cultural Center. Mokuhinia, speaking to that subject, is roughly in the size of 10 acres in its original footprint. Today, some housing are in there. I'm pretty sure those are gone. I'm not saying that they have to be relocated. Salvation Army was within the site. That is gone. May need to be relocated. 505 Shops was in the site. So these things I'm painting out so that we understand what it looks like in the capacity of rebuilding this structure that was instrumental to the success of Kamalu'ulo'olele. When you want to speak to Kamalu'ulo'olele, you have to identify the intricate parts that made that successful, and knowing the timeline of that establishment in order to get us there today and the resources we have available are intricate parts that you as a council have a very influential piece in making it possible. Water was a limit. Na'ekaneo Maui had applied for the water use application through the state process for Mokuhinia. If you understand the Owai system that is today present alongside Mokuhinia that exits out next to Camp 3rd,
3 minutes.
the only time you see that full of water is when it rains. Other than that, it was always set at 8 inches. Well systems that were reestablished recently had brought that water system down to 0. Today, if you get a chance, I don't really recommend it, but you go and look at that canal today and it's filled, and there's no reason to fill it because there hasn't been any rain. So that lack of demand for water that our town currently had and ran and maintained, that is no longer being used, is showing itself in springs in the punawai of our community, of our wahi. If our rebuild is in 3 years away, we'll start to see more of those punawai of our kupuna present again. 505 Shops is a perfect example as well. Their basement level always floods after 2 hours of the pump system not running there. That's what exits out into the kai in front of Lele.
4 minutes.
Those things are intricate parts that you need to keep an eye on. And then understanding, if we look at climate change, which I believe was instrumental to the fire systems as well. I'm not pointing fingers at anyone else. Knowing that those systems in place that are no longer there, that will be impacted by sea level rise, are things that we can consider as far as water demand. I'm just talking about water today. There's a lot more that we can talk on. I would like you guys to develop, I'm already out of time, I'd like you guys to develop policies that regulate buildings going forward to be required to implement native foliage. Doesn't have to be native. Can be mangoes, can be moringa, can be all of that jams that we love in our community anyway, and we embrace for years, decades. Incorporate those into some policy specifically for Lahaina, so we don't have to go and say that we're canvassing this for the county of Maui, but we can address Lahaina specifically. Look at policies that would provide green energy, requirements in that, subsidized by the government funds. Sorry, I'm way over 4 minutes and I totally cut in line, so I'm going to just stop there and look forward to talking to you guys again in any time effort.
Quick question. Aloha, Mr. Kikona. Mahalo for your testimony today. I just wanted my clarifying question. I actually have a clarifying question. In your testimony, is the point that you're trying to make is that when we are calling for the restoration of certain things such as malu'ulu olele, mokuhinia, moku'ula, that the current footprint would need to be redesigned in order for that restoration to happen? So when people are saying that it's kind of assumed and included in that in their testimony, if to understand fully what individuals are saying when they testify.
Absolutely. For context, water use designations will need to be adjusted in order to re-establish the original footprint of Kamalu'ulu Olele. We will not be able to allow certain activities to take place within our watershed. Some of those hotels that were housed within the burn zone of Lahaina are no longer present. I have families that raise their kids off of working in those hotels, so it probably is a sensitive subject there. Nonetheless, those things have drawn numerous amounts of water. And if there was ever a time where we could speak to the proper allocation and use of water, this is that time. And maybe those hotels and larger consuming entities of our resource may be reconsidered as we move forward in developing our town. I'm not speaking that this is like written in stone, so nobody attack me when I walk off the mic, but we may have to consider some of those things, and those allocations would then be available for efforts like the restoration of Mokuhinia. Because if we're going to move forward currently right now with our status and try to get Mokuhinia reestablished, this has been an effort in the making for a long time. There's reasons why it hasn't established itself yet. So we need to find the best situations that we currently have to make those things possible. Maybe the wharf becomes Naikaneo Maui Cultural Center in the future. Who knows? But that would limit some of the water allocations that was consumed there. Just thinking outside the box.
Mahalo for that clarification. Mahalo, Judge.
Wait. Question for you.
Thank you, Mr. Kikona. I just was wondering if you could clarify the restoration of local Mokuhinia, what that looks like in physical form.
Well, Mokuhinia is what is identified in our culture and tradition as a kuapa. It's an inland fish pond. Inland fish ponds are not commonly spoken towards today in our society, in our infrastructure. It's because it requires an abundance of fresh water. It's different than an ocean fish pond, right? The local i'a that we are commonly speaking to today was consisting of different fish because they live predominantly off of a higher salt context. Kuapa are inland ponds, predominantly more consistent with freshwater. And so it gives you different ecosystems, which provide different algae blooms, which spawn different fish. So when you look at that and you understand studies today are being done around the state with kuapa and local i'a that have already identified the impacts, the positive impacts that it makes on multiple different levels. Runoff systems, water quality, fish populations, our estuaries are replenishing. The longshore fishermen are finding the pelagic fish closer to shorelines where these fish systems are established. Our kupuna didn't live the fabulous dream life that many of us foresee. We've come to places in time where we were responsible for the depletion of natural existing resources. but we were quick to identify our error and adjust to the environment based on our consumption. These are the intricate parts that we miss today. People speak of ahupua'a constantly, throw that out there way too easily in the name of developments most often, and maybe some environmental studies. But they miss all the intricate parts that made ahupua'a successful. Loko i'a and kuopa'a were the kidneys and livers of our ecology. And those are instrumental in moving forward, whatever you want to talk about, food security, tourist industry, you want to move into climate smart changes. Those are all going to be one big grab of a success in reestablishing the footprints of our kupuna. Kauika meheo na kupuna, walk the footsteps of your ancestors. They're there for a reason.
Thank you.
Kako, thank you for having me. All the families, they're lost in homes and family members. My knee. I am blessed to be residing in one of the most important Wahipanas in Lahaina. And this Wahipana is so special that as a little girl, I used to go visit my friend and stay over for weekends, And I find out that her dad is Uncle Sam Kai. And then I go away and live my life, and I come back. And I'm blessed of being able to live there permanently if I wanted to. I learned a lot. I lived there for like 7 years, and learning that Honokau Valley supplies Lahaina all the way out to maybe even Lani Poko with water is just, wow, this resource it comes from this valley. How much more special can this be? What hurts me is there are times where we're out in the yard and I'll take a shower and I grab my handle with the hot water and the cold water and nothing's coming out. And I'm going, how can this be? The water coming from this valley and we don't have water? What's going on? But for some reason, we don't have any notice from the department. When this thing happened on the 8th, August 4th, Honokau Valley had no water service. There was no water. We thought maybe there was a leak or something, but no notice from the water department as to why we don't have water. So it's like, okay, well, I guess we need more water. And it's been going on for the 7 years I've been living there. So I've tracked every day until we get water. It's not until about maybe a week and a half ago, we got water back. We asked around the neighbors, hey, what's going on with the water? And the Awai system just tends to just dry up.
3 minutes.
One day it's running, the next day it's bone dry. And I'll go and I'll look at the stream and I'm going, wait, water department says there should be like at least 9 million gallons of flow in this stream. It's not even maybe 3 or 4 inches up from the bottom of the river. And it's like, why do we have not, if we suffering like this, how's Lahaina? How is Lahaina? And then yet we have tourists going and swimming in their pools and their jacuzzis and, just water features and everything. And it's like, You know what? Cut all that stuff off. They get the ocean that they can swim in. They don't need the swimming pools. It upsets me because
4 minutes.
I am from Lahaina. I'm an 88 grad from Lahaina Luna. A lot of pride. I have lineal descent. My great-grandmother is a Kukahiko. Kahu John Mahele, Kukahiko from Loyola Church, his family. And it's like, after when we found out, it took us a day and a half to find out what happened to Lahaina because we wasn't aware of no cell service, no electric, no nothing, because we live off the grid. But what about all these people? Until we actually drove the car out and realized Kapalua was like both sides of the highway with cars and people trying to get connection. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I cannot believe this. One of our nephews came over to borrow gas so he could go backside Kakuloa way to go get supplies. And I'm like, why you need, and he's like, well, Auntie, Lahaina's gone. And I thought to myself, I cannot picture that. I cannot picture this. Until we went Friday, we just went for a drive. And by the time we reached by the cannery, we had to turn around because the roadblocks was still there. And I thought, oh my God, my classmates, my friends, my family, how they doing? My nephew lives up Lahaina Luna. Until I see everything on the cell phone as far as whatever, I mean, not cell phone, but after the fact. Friday, I pull up at Napili Market, and there's this guy, and he just looks so lost. So I kind of stopped, like, brother, you okay? You need help or anything? And he's like, I just like off this island. I just want to go back to the island and forget it. And I said, why? He said, because I live right there, Lahaina Luna Road. I never even have chance to grab anything. Was just like this. And he looked beat. He really looked beat. And I said, is there anything I can help you with? And he said, I'm just waiting for a jump from my friend so he can go to the airport.
Auntie, can you take the next 30 seconds and wrap up?
Yeah.
Thank you.
My thing is, the vision I've seen is our capital needs to be returned to where it's rightfully placed, and it's Mukula, Mokuihina, Maulele. It needs to be brought back. I stand here today before you folks. Thank you for your time, and thank you for letting us voice ourselves. But yeah, it's going to take some years, but we're strong and we'll get through this. You know, we'll get through this. We got the mana, so thank you.
Thank you.
Uilani Walker Bari Quattro. I'm a widowed mom of 2 traumatized girls and a traumatized dog. As many others here, my home of 23 years was reduced to ashes. We cannot go back to my mom's house because her house is burnt down. I can't go to my sister's house because her house is burnt down too. While I'm stressed from hopping from Airbnb to hotels and signing up for resources, I'm struggling to find a home for my family on my income alone. In addition to finding a place to stay, to rent, I have to pay for my mortgage for a home that no longer stands. My monthly expense is going to be at least $8,000 a month, and I actually can't even find a decent rental for less than $4,000 that allows pets. We have houses on the resource site for $10,000 for a 3-bedroom house, $20,000 for a 3-bedroom house. On the Maui Resource Center, sorry. This alone will deplete my insurance and savings that is required from FEMA in order for them to help me, leaving me with no money to rebuild my house when it comes to time with today's cost. On top of that, next year, I'm gonna have to pay for inflated property tax to a home that doesn't even exist. As many others, I'm trying to figure out how are we gonna survive for the next few years while our families are forced to put a smile on our faces and see all these visitors come. Can you take care of us first? Can you take care of the Lahaina people first before you guys open it up to the visitors? Can you make us the priority? Can we be the priority before the tourists? Why do we have to fight and rally to get our voices heard? Like, we come first. We should always come first. We've grown up here. We help everybody here. The community came to help each other first. Like, where are you? Share the water with us. It's given freely from the sky. All those millions of gallons of water that evaporates from the pool every month could have gone to our Aina instead. Why do visitors get to drink and pee in these freshwater pools and we cannot have it in our lo'i or in our backyard gardens? Protect us from the inflated property taxes. Help us with the resources we need so that we're not forced out of our own hometown because we cannot pay rent and our mortgages and deplete our savings and can't rebuild our house and we can't afford it anymore. We're gonna be priced out for sure. Help us rebuild Lahaina that we all can be proud of together. The world is watching us, Lahaina, what everybody is doing. So show us that our government cares for us. Mahalo.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry, but can you please come back? Member Paulton has a question for you.
Thank you, Ms. Bariquatro. Sorry for your loss. It should be having property tax bill on Friday council meeting for referral to committee, but might need support from the community to pass it. So just wondering if you can keep an eye out and rally support for that.
Why do we have to rally support for a property tax to our houses that burnt down? Why can't you guys just automatically give it to us?
Because
Why
I
do we
need
have to
5
fight for it?
votes. I need 5 votes, that's why.
5 votes for what? Why can't we just have it? Like, the hotels can pay for the inflated prices. Our homes don't even exist for us to even pay for this.
If I don't get 5 votes, it won't pass. That's how it works. There's
Who's-
9 of us.
Who do we have to get to vote? What kind of support do we need? We don't even know that. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do to get this.
There's 9 people on the council. I'm 1 person. You need 5 votes.
So what do we have to do? Why can't we do it here? Like, it's another, I have to work. I'm the only one in my family that's taking care of my girls, and I'm still working part-time. How am I supposed to get away from my job that's providing income that I can barely afford because I got to pay somebody else's mortgage along with mine? And you're going to make me go to another meeting that's going to take away from my income to provide for my family. So what is it that you want from all of us to make this happen?
I just need 5 votes.
What do we need to vote? So what do you need? What do we have to do to get you to help us and vote for us that we need our property taxes? Like,
I think if I can clarify what Member Paulton's saying, she's just saying she hears you and we will have something in front of us. If you want to, you can come. You don't have to. We will remember you.
well, how do we even get this knowledge out for the people that can come, for the people who cannot come?
Sure. So it's on our website. We have an agenda posted. And what was that? Yeah, we do all PSAs as well. Member Paulton's really good at like posting it on her Facebook and stuff. But if you cannot come, 1, we will remember you, and 2, you can always send written testimony. And I mean, honestly, Junie Nicole is always reminding us that you guys are here too. So, but we will remember you. I understand it's very hard, and I do appreciate you coming. Thank you.
Can I make a quick comment, please?
Cannot, because
Is everybody okay if I make a quick comment real quick? Here's the thing, everybody. This table right here is the one that's what they just talked about. So the people here are asking all of you right now, vote. They don't need to be here to go to another meeting, as she said, it's taking away from their time. You folks are getting paid by their taxes. So you should automatically say, everyone here and everyone else who was here earlier is asking you for that help.
We hear that.
And I want to say one thing. Property taxes is really crazy in Hawaii. Give these people a break. And this moratorium on the rent that they're charging our people $10,000 for a 3-bedroom, you folks have the power to stop it. Stop it.
Thank you. We have to go on.
Okay. Aloha mai kako, ola akeo ko uino. Noho, or no Lahaina mai au. My name's La'Akeo Webb. I'm born and raised here in Lahaina. My Lahaina family, the Kanihos, go back generations to Arbahi. Today, I stand before you to tell you what the community has been voicing for generations. I've been very hesitant to testify today because this is my first time testifying, but I feel that it is my kuleana as a young Kanaka here in Lahaina to use my voice and to give my mana'o as I've myself and my immediate family have also been impacted by these fires. Today, I am proud to have Ko'umau Kupuna speaking through me and guiding the future that not just Lahaina, but all of Hawaii needs. I stand before you today so that Maui can set the example. My family, we lived in Wahikuli on Kohoma Street, so our whole neighborhood, my house included, is completely decimated. Growing up, my mom, who just had to leave because we all work in tourism, but she just had to leave to go work for tourists that are here while we are all grieving, including her. Growing up, I've always heard stories from my mom, my kupuna, about Arbahi. From plantation days, from my great Papa John, who used to work at the mill plantation and all that. And that has really always sparked my curiosity and my own, wanting to know more about our history and my people. I learned more about our history my senior year, and I used Hawaiian history, like preserving Hawaiian history sites as my senior project when I was a senior. I learned a lot about places here in Lahaina and just things like that has always sparked my curiosity. I would like to talk about my own experiences with the whole evacuation process and how that was like. There was absolutely no communication whatsoever from anyone. And witnessing the smoke coming out seeing it from Wahikuli, coming out from Lahaina Luna, no one knew in my neighborhood, no one knew what was happening, no one knew what we were gonna do. And by that time, because of the winds and everything, the traffic was horrible and there was no communication, so we all just decided to evacuate on our own terms with no government, nothing, no siren sounding, nothing. So that's something that really needs to be obviously fixed in the future if you haven't already heard it before.
3 minutes.
Coming more towards with the opening of tourism and everything, I'm also speaking for my holohas who are back in the States to pursue higher education because they're not here to testify. This is my thoughts and a lot of my holohas' thoughts on the opening of tourism on the October 8th. There is no binary when it comes to the future of Hawaii. Tourism is what we're used to, and it's the most familiar thing for many of us to lean on because it's what we've been taught to accept as the solution for decades. Hence, while tourism may still occur within Hawaii, it is not the solution and should be addressed and understood as an extremely complex problem. The past should prove more than ever that tourism will not work to uplift the Olahui. It was designed to bring us down, so how in the hell would it suddenly bring us back up?
4 minutes.
And why would the industry be willing to uplift the people? it's been subjecting for decades. Skipping ahead, I just hope that, we, in the future, for my generation or for the generations that come after me, as you've heard in past testimonies, that we build Lahaina in how us Lahaina people hope to see it, with self-sustaining food security to restore all hupua'a systems, give us back our water. You've heard that for years. You've heard our people crying for years, our oppression and everything. Like, come on, like, get ahead. Like, we're still suffering. My generation, we're still suffering. Like, make Lahaina o kamalu ulu olale again, ola I kawai, ho'i ka'aina, and restore moku ula and moku hinia. Mahalo.
We have a question for
Mahalo for your testimony. In your testimony, you said that your ho'aloha who are away at college are not testifying, and I wanted to find out if it's because they don't want to, or they don't know that they can via Blue Jeans, because we have a Blue Jeans meeting link and they can testify from where they are.
I really just feel like it's like kind of like all the above, because they're kind of, doing their own thing now. And that's another thing I wanted to touch on with my testimony, with hearing them. A lot of